one and all. Jeff Robbins here. I'm your host for our second annual version of Piranha Pool. Welcome to Minibar, and thank you for participating in our event, and thanks to Minibar for making this all happen today. I am a lawyer at the law firm of Messer Kramer, and I run a angel network investor organization called Angel Pollination, which is sponsoring today's event. And we get together on a quarterly basis to create greater awareness, communication, and education amongst the investment community here in the Twin Cities. We're always looking for presenting companies every quarter, so do keep us in mind in that particular sense. And we're sponsored by my law firm of Messer Kramer, the financial advisory firm of Stiles Financial, and the intellectual property firm of Schwegman, Lumberg, and Wessner. So I thank them all for sponsoring Angel Pollination, and thank you all, of course, for being here today. So, Piranha Pool, you need to know the rules of engagement. So for the audience, this is for you to watch. You're not being offered any securities. You're not being offered the opportunity to buy anything. This is here for you to learn from and have some fun, and we hope you will cheer the crowd on and have a good time. For the fish food, that's the entrepreneurs who will be presenting, optionally directly from the pool, or they can be outside of it as they so choose. They have 15 minutes, which will be timed to decide whether or not they can present to the investor group to answer their questions and to potentially negotiate an investment deal. So that will happen in kind of rapid fire. And the piranhas. The piranhas, they may invest, they may choose not to invest, they may accept the terms that are being proposed by the fish food, they may propose their own terms. Who knows what will happen today? And so, speaking of the piranhas, let's welcome them on down, please. They should be hiding up there somewhere. Hey, piranhas, come aboard. I see Barb Stinnett, Dave Dalby, Joy Lindsay, and Ed Cannon. Would you please give a big round for the piranhas? And you guys have to share one microphone over there. And so, Dave, I'll give it, let's see, you got a handful. I'll give that to Joy. There you go. You did what? Oh, yes. Yes, that's right. This is real, folks. Last year, the Piranhas invested in Kittison. So we'll see what happens this time around. So with that, if I manage to turn this microphone on, which I've now done, first up is Crime Fighter. So Kavi, come aboard, and welcome to the pool. And push your button to the right there.
Well, thanks for having me. And Jeff, I'm not going to get in this pool. I happen to have a lot of cop friends, so don't try and make me. All right. My name's Kavi Turnbull, and today I'm going to present about our startup called iCrime Fighter. iCrime Fighter was started by Minneapolis police officers who were frustrated with mundane tasks during their job of transferring evidence and collecting it with redundant electronic devices. They're dragging around digital cameras, video cameras, audio recorders, and notebooks. They're having to drive from the scene of the crime all the way back to the office to enter the data into the system. And it was just a big waste of time when they could be doing it simpler and easier. They wanted to be out walking the community and having relations with folks in the cities to be policing in a community-safe manner and making relationships. So what they came up with is called iCrime Fighter. iCrime Fighter is an application where at the scene of a crime, you are opening up a case. You're collecting audio, video, notes, and even pictures, and you're encrypting it and you're uploading it to iCrimeFighter.com. Now with this system, you no longer have to have these redundant devices. You're lowering the amount of weight that officers are carrying. You're lowering the cost of all these electronic devices, and you're speeding up the delivery to the RMS system. Now, not only with iCrimeFighter.com does it go to our website, we have implemented a system called an API where RMS Systems, which stands for Record Management Systems, it's where the end report comes out of. It pings our server and pulls down new data as it is uploaded live. Now, on the right here, you see a quote from Big Lake Chief of Police, Joel Scharf, and he's saying, that iCrime Fighter is cop friendly. I mean, our company came around to make it easy to be a cop, and that's what we did. And he helped us make it happen. So let me tell you about the team. Myself, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have done multiple startups. I've had mobile experience. I've had a successful exit. Our CTO, Gangadhar, he has lots of years in mobile and in healthcare. And in healthcare, there's a lot of private security data certifications that you need. And those certifications and the learnings he's had in healthcare have translated quite well to the law enforcement space. Now, our newest member of the team is John Mathis. He's been with us for 6 months, and he's really helped us get off the ground. He has 20 years in sales experience, and he has the last 10 years in law enforcement helping sell evidence room software and systems. Let's talk about the target market. There's about 18,000 agencies in the US. We have about 800,000 officers growing to 850,000 officers. Now with iCrime Fighter, we target agencies that are 500 or less, because agencies that are large have really massive systems, and our system works well with tying into the smaller RMS systems, and they're a lower hanging fruit for someone who wants to use iCrime Fighter. Now the last two bullets talk about switching from old Nokia phones to smartphones, which may seem out of date. I mean, we all made the switch to iPhones probably 3, 4, 5 years ago. Well, in law enforcement, they're just doing it now. And that's what's helping get our company off the ground, is they're switching to smartphones and they're finding targeted solutions like iCrime Fighter.
Hey, is it okay if I interrupt you for a second?
Yep.
Is that okay? So back to the market. That was a question I had. I did some research, and I got about 600,000 licensed guys. If you're targeting guys under 500, that's less. You charge $12 a month, $144 a year. What's your total possible addressable market size?
So that changes actually, because we're integrating with RMS systems, where we do charge a basic fee of $12 per month, but that's just for iCrimeFighter.com. And if you want us to tailor it to your RMS system, there's a huge upsell. And there's also a huge value add when we do that, because we're removing any manual intervention needed by the police department.
So in answer to his question, what's the total size of the market?
So the total size of the market is 72% of 800,000. But the dollar-wise, I don't have it off the top of my head, because we would have to compute it based on RMS systems that we integrate with. But it's larger than the figure you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 675, excuse me, 675, 675,000 times 144 is $97 million. So your total market addressable is $97 million as it stands today, right? And maybe less, because if you're targeting less than 500, it'll be a little bit less.
No, so what I'm saying is when we, I'll show you in this slide to come, you'll see, because when we connect it, it adds value, and that's what we're doing. Okay, so let's talk about traction. We have 7 paying clients. We have 3 agencies that have full deployments. Literally every officer at these agencies use iCrime Fighter. It is the system for photo, audio, and video. They're uploading every day to our system. There's some stats from Maplewood. And one of the cool things is Maplewood and Big Lake have been live on our system for over 10 months. They've been poking, prodding, and improving our product to make it ready for nationwide launch. And that's what we've been doing as we got this business going. Now, the cool thing, Chief Joel Scharf wrote an editorial that just went to print in Police Chief Magazine, Minnesota Police Chief Magazine. Literally 3 weeks ago, we've had 11 agencies contact us and say, we want this today, because it's saving time and money. It's a tight-knit community. They understand the value. And I've listed some of them up there. I've also listed the RMS partners, which I'll talk about on the next slide. Excuse me. But what also is important is we were just approved as a national public safety partner with Verizon Wireless. On April 28th, we're training 60 reps in the public safety division on how to sell iCrime Fighter, because we have a sell with contract Verizon Wireless. All right, now let's talk about the Holy Grail. This is what we've done with Maplewood Police Department. We're going straight from phone to end record seamlessly without any intervention by the police department. What it does is we have 72 officers who are uploading data every day. Every 5 minutes, the Zerker system checks iCrime Fighter's API and pulls down new data. Now, what does that do? That allows no longer do you have to manually transfer data. You can do it while you're in the field, And what's really cool is we have this upsell connection fee. So between $250 and $1,000 a month, we charge per agency per month for their user base. They have 500 agencies. They have 8,000 officers. They're in South Dakota, and they keep getting new contracts. Now, Ramsey County bought the Zerker solution for their RMS and CAD system. They budgeted $9.5 million. Maplewood said to them, we want Zerker and we want this, but you have to integrate iCrimeFighter because Zerker doesn't have the stuff that we do to collect mobile evidence. So we built this API over the past 6 months, and it goes live in the next few weeks. So it's really the holy grail of going from phone to records. And that's not the only connection we're doing. Our API can be reused. We have 2 other pilot RMS companies, LETG and Pro Phoenix out of New Jersey, that we will reuse this API with. So our value and our total addressable market goes way up when we connect to these folks, and we're building our sales base without having to expand our payroll because we're doing sell with or sell through agreements with these companies. And I'd like to tell you finally about our offering. We have a $5 million note open. We have a cap on it at 3.75 million valuation, and we have 200,000 committed. We're going to use that for funding more platforms and connecting to more RMS systems.
So sorry to pick on you.
Yeah.
So when I Googled law enforcement agency software and specifically went into sort of what you do, there's like a ton of them. How do you differentiate yourself from the other guys that are out there?
Absolutely. So what you're looking at are RMS systems. An RMS system is like, think of it as ERP for a police agency. That's what they're doing where your car gets broke into. The insurance company needs a report to file the claim. That's what an RMS system is. And what we do is we integrate with RMS systems. We are focused on digital evidence collection and management, specifically for mobile and tablet. And that's where there's been laggards in the industry, and that's what's created this opportunity as we've really pioneered that technology.
I think it's a really cool app. I've seen the video demo, and it works really well. My question is around, so we're seeing more and more police forces that have the video cameras on their chest. How does that impact your business? Is it positive or negative?
It's definitely positive because what we're doing is there's more budgets for technology. Our largest competitor is evidence.com, owned by Taser. Now, their main business is selling hardware. They tie evidence.com with selling those body cams. They're hardware specific, they're technology specific. They do not integrate with RMS systems, where we are a provider that integrates with RMS systems. So it kind of lets us go after the long tail of the market, where they go after 1,000 plus size agencies.
So what are the terms of without divulging too much, but does Verizon get the lion's share of the margin when you sell something? And the other question is, on your API, is there a revenue model there that's substantial or just a little bit?
No, absolutely. So we have sell with agreements with Verizon, so we keep the margin at this point. We might do a sell through agreement further on after we get a few under our belts. The same thing with our API systems. We have a sell with agreement with Zerker. Now, these RMS companies have shows. They have 8,000 users. They descend upon Sioux Falls, South Dakota in September. We have multiple sessions that are going to be training them on the iCrimeFighter Zerker connection, where we can sell to their user base. And each agency, if it's 5 officers, it's still $250 a month for the connection fee, and then it's the per officer base that we were talking about before.
Well, you enjoy the ramp quota.
Yeah, well, we plan on, there's about 50 RMS companies in the country. They're very regional. We plan on going to the coast and finding other RMSs to partner with as well.
Hey, Kavi. Actually, that was my question, Ed, was the number of RMSs and the expansion to follow on to Dave and Joy's point. I really like the technologies. I've had a chance now to work with you guys and actually doing advisory and full disclosure for the team here in the room. One thing that would be interesting is to get your perspective of the market share. We focused on TAM here this morning. Is there something beyond, or what do you see beyond just the police force piece?
Yeah, absolutely. There's several markets that this could be applied to. We've been approached by fire inspection services, by insurance services. We've wanted to wrap our heads around the police market because we know it. We were founded by policemen, and that's why we've gone after it first. We're not ruling out going after another market later, but this RMS partnership works well. We have, of the agencies that we have, there are 3 RMSs represented. We've gotten the deal with Zerker, and now that we've built the API, we're going to LETG and piloting with New Hope PD, the integration there. LETG has a 50% market share of Minnesota police departments. And next is ProPhoenix. We have 2 clients, Wyoming PD and Big Lake, that use ProPhoenix. ProPhoenix is large in Wisconsin and on the East Coast because they're based in New Jersey. So that's our real plan to ramp up sales, is not hiring salesmen doing direct sales. It's this API integration with RMS systems.
So, Kavi, typical slide that we'd see in this would be, number of officers or number of app sessions or something that would show, the last 6 to 12 months of progress. What would that look like?
So that would look like Maplewood PD is averaging 8 cases a day at 11 megabytes a case. The 787, that's because there was a lot of video in that case. We could log in live to a dashboard and see every day these agencies are uploading data. It's surprisingly small, the amount of data, because it's photo and audio that the use is really heavy for. So when we sell a subscription for $12 a seat, it comes with 10 gigabytes of data. Let's put this into perspective with Maplewood. When we went live with them, they asked us to move 9 years of digital evidence into iCrimeFighter.com. That project was only 200 gigabytes for 9 years. So it's a surprisingly small number until you get into the video.
Well, we're getting down. We have 1 minute left. So I do really like what you're doing. I think you've got some good traction here, but I'm not really crazy about products that only serve a government market, and I try to stay away from the police as much as possible. So, so I'm out.
I also appreciate, an entrepreneur that goes out and gets a product to market, so good for you for being to market. I'm a little fuzzy on total addressable market. I hear what you said, but the product you currently have that's selling seems to be sort of capped under 100 million, so that the valuation is going to be capped at some amount as well. I like to see companies with unlimited upside. And the differentiation with the other software products that are out there, again, we spent 20 minutes with you, so I don't understand, but I don't understand, so I'm out.
I like, for the reasons that the technology, the fact that it's actually making it easier and more integrated from a solution standpoint. Do I stop then? I do look for things that are in a very
We'll
tight
let you
vertical.
wrap it up.
Thank you. I like things that are in a tight vertical market and actually have a very clear path from the product to execution, so I'm in.
Cool. Well, let's talk later, Barb.
That was an I'm in, right? I really like everything about this. I've got a lot more questions. Unfortunately, I have really limited bandwidth right now because I've got this other gig. So I may just keep an eye on you because I know you're not when are you closing?
Yeah.
When are you closing?
Oh, well, we have 200 of the 500 closed right now, so you better get on board.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if Barb leaves anything afterwards. But
All right.
great job coming. I mean, it's scary to come down here and do this, and I got to give these guys credit for doing all this. And very nice job.
Thank you.
All right, that's how we do it, folks. Thank you, Kavi. Thank you, Kavi. That's how we do it down here in the pool, and the fish is watching carefully here. Yes, yes. All right, so if I can get to the appropriate screens, yes, here's our. So next up is Boom Boom Prince. Come aboard, Mr. Brett. All right, you know the button to push?
The one that says forward?
Yeah, the one to the right, yeah. Cool.
If Kavi was allowed to be pitching to me, I would have invested in his company. So Boom Boom Prince, I'm just going to quickly walk through team, a little bit more about the company itself, some of the traction we have, and a little bit about the market, and then talk to you guys a little bit about what questions you have. So what is Boom Boom Prints? In my life stage, I have a 1.5 years old, another one on the way right now. Everybody I know has a child or a grandchild or a friend with a kid. What Boom Boom Prints does is we make it easier for those people to find really cool, unique stuff for the little one in their life. And how we do that is we've created a marketplace that allows graphic designers and artists to come create their own stores, upload their artwork very easily, and put it on those products. So how it works, artist shows up at our site, creates a free account. They upload their artwork. We automatically place it on a wide variety of products like onesies, bibs, wall art. Once that artwork's approved to make sure it's appropriate for our target market, it's now immediately available and live on the store. We tell the artist, hey, your store's live, your artwork's live. They can then go share their store, tell people about it. Hey, come shop at my Boom Boom Print store. So boomboomPrints.com/Brett, for example. When a product's sold, we handle all the back end for the artists. So they don't have to worry about printing, shipping, customer service. They don't have to worry about doing any of that type of stuff. So it frees them up to really just be creative and do what they love to do. So that's a little bit, just a quick rundown of what Boom Boom Prints is and what we do. Here's our team. The team is my favorite part of the slide. We have a great team. I'm also a serial entrepreneur. I've started multiple companies. I've had 2 exits. One of them was actually with Kavi, who just pitched. He and I had one together. And before I was an entrepreneur, I was actually an investor, so I sat where you guys were and helped invest in companies. So on the dev side, we have Sam, Nick, and Joel. Joel has run dev teams of 20+ developers. Between the 3 of them, they've been the site architects for e-commerce stores that have done over $1 billion in revenue. So we have a very, very solid dev team in place now. Eva's been with me for 2 of my startups, so she's kind of an entrepreneur as well. Knows what it takes, is in the trenches, does a little bit of everything. We added Aaliyah at the end of the year last year because we really needed some design, UX help. She's our brand manager and designer. We also have intern Ben, who's actually not an intern anymore. He now runs our sales team, and we have Asia, who is an intern, but intern Asia didn't sound as good as intern Ben, so we still call him intern Ben. And that's the rest of our team. Love the team. Business model of the product, which is really cool. The business model is one of my favorite parts of Boom Boom Prints. So we make really great margins. We approach 40% margins right now. And theoretically, for us to be a big business, the artists can become our best sales force. And that's already starting to be proven right now, where artists have their own store. They're incented to sell for us. They're incented to talk about their store and sell. And so to become big, one of the tracks is how do we inspire those artists to talk about us, and how do we really, really help them propel themselves so they can make money. That 40% gross margin is after we pay artists also. So that's after the artist. I consider our artist royalty a cost of goods sold. So that 40% is after we pay artists. Right now, even at the scale we're at, we're already approaching 40% gross, so I actually think we could surpass that with scale. And if you think about the artist royalty side of it, 15% is not bad, since that's literally covering everything. We cover everything for them, so that's what they're putting in their pockets. The other neat thing about our company is we don't have to carry any inventory. We have third-party vendors that handle all of our manufacturing, shipping, fulfillment for us. So we're not tying up any cash in inventory. We're not tying up cash anywhere. We get paid immediately. We pay our vendors 30 days later. So it's a really good cash cycle. We can put the money back into the business and help it grow, which is similar to a prior company that I built and sold. One of the other really interesting pieces of our business that we've kind of found out in the last 6 months, we actually didn't expect it or hadn't thought about it at all. We were always product that sell cool, unique products for kids. What we found is that what we have on our site right now is really awesome content. So content's king on the internet right now. People are paying big bucks for content. We have 20 to 30 new unique pieces of art being uploaded to our site every day right now. Those art pieces they have descriptions, the artists get to create their own profiles, and it's really, really cool stuff, and that's shown in our numbers. So people come to our site, about a third of every session we have on our site, that person comes back, 1 out of every 3. That includes people that bounce away for whatever reason. So it's actually higher people that came to our site finding us on purpose. A lot of people come back. They spend a ton of time on our site. They go to a ton of pages on our site. So people love coming to our site and staying. So we have this really cool potential to have what I call eyeball revenue.
Question, of the $3,000 revenue per month last month, how much of it was recurring?
So right now, I mean, we've only had revenue for 3 months. So we did 42 orders last month. Of those 42 orders, about 6 of them have ordered from us before already. So it's, take that with a grain of salt, right, and for what it is. So we didn't even talk about the revenue slide yet, so you're ahead of the game.
I read ahead.
But on the eyeball side, and we can jump over to that. I'll come back to this one. So since you did bring up revenue, we closed around last September. So we closed around last September. We've really focused on the artist side. It's artists. We need content before we can sell stuff, right? So when we closed our round, we had basically 0 artists and no revenue. We are now approaching 2,000. In the next 30 days, we'll have our 2,000th live artist. And by live, I mean they have approved artwork up on the site, and so their store is actively available to sell things. Because we have other artists that come just check it out and don't end up doing it, right? So that's 2,000 live artists with over 11,000 unique pieces of art. To talk about how that converts to products, those 11,000 unique pieces of art actually equate to about 500,000 unique SKUs on our site already. So you can see how the content scales very rapidly, and why there's so much for people to look at, come back regularly, things like that. On the revenue side, we spent a whopping total of $1,000 on consumer side marketing last month. So we haven't spent money on consumer side advertising yet. We did a little bit at the end of the year last year and early in the year to kind of get some feedback of what we needed to improve, things like that, when we went live with our MVP in September. So we got some feedback, then turned off consumer side marketing, and we're working on basically making stage 2 of the site so it's appropriate before we start advertising again heavily. Despite that, I mean, our revenue's grown 35% a month over the last 3 months, and we're starting to see that revenue growth. And it will grow again this month. We're 10 days in, and we're already approaching the March numbers. So it's starting to grow. We're starting to get that revenue traction, which is really cool to see without having done any ad spend. Most of it's coming from artists actually pushing revenue to us. The thing that I was kind of getting into when you asked your question the first time is we have this other cool avenue where we have all this content. We're actually building 2 big pieces of software right now that will allow us to take advantage of this content and potentially drive new revenue that way without having to sell product. So we're building room builders, room inspirations. So somebody will be able to come to our site, create a room board. So let's say you're having a baby and you're creating your nursery. You want to basically come somewhere and put colors on walls, furniture in a room, and then boom, boom, prints art on that wall. We're building a piece of software that will allow you to do that. Then save it, share it. We'll have curators that are we'll call them mommy bloggers, even though they usually don't like being called mommy bloggers, but they'll come curate room inspirations and product boards at our site. Our artists are going to curate boards, and then we'll have boom, boom, prints curated. But any user will be able to create them, save them, and share them. They'll be public. So I mean, think Pinterest with our artwork, essentially. It should be a really cool way. And then if you start thinking about the revenue potential off of that, I mean, partnerships with furniture companies, partnerships with paint companies. I mean, if you talk to some of the biggest influencers in the mom industry right now, they charge, $30,000 a month minimum spend to have a banner ad on the top of their site. So there's real revenue potential on that side of it, and it's something that we just kind of thought of in the last 3 months. Last thing I want to say, I'm not going to talk about the mom industry. It's a big industry. I can answer questions if you have specific questions about that. The cooler thing to me is the activity, the activity that's in our arena. So Society6 is a very similar platform to ours. They target hipster markets. So think Chewbacca skateboarding on a T-shirt. That's what they sell. They went from 0 to $14 million in revenue in about 4 years, and then sold for just close to $100 million to a company named Demand Media at the end of 2013. Zulily is like the 800-pound gorilla that's been introduced to the mom market in the last 10 years. They IPO'd early last year, I think. So there's a lot of activity, and if you think locally even, I mean, Taylor Corp built their business, and they're making a lot of investments right now. They built their business on print on demand, right? And so you talk about even local potential acquisition partners. I mean, you can immediately see why we would make sense for a company like that. But
how did you forget to put Etsy up there? Right, there's a $2 billion valuation.
Yeah, and so Etsy, and I love the example of Etsy. I'm glad you brought that up because
you're an Etsy with a back-end fulfillment.
Yes, that's exactly what we are. And one of the reasons we did what we did is because a lot of artists want to have that fulfillment done for them. They like being creative. They don't like dealing with customer service. They don't want to deal with printing and shipping. And so we took what Etsy's doing and handing the back-end fulfillment for them. And so which is actually really unique. because Society 6 and other companies like Zazzle, Society 6, there's a lot of them out there that do kind of the back-end fulfillment as well, but they don't allow the artists to have their own store. They don't, they have their artwork up there, but there's no like society6.com/Brett where an artist can share from.
How do you do your fulfillment?
So we have third-party vendor partners that we actually have the same. Right now we use one. There's a lot of them out there that can do it. We actually have the same vendor that Society 6 uses.
Are you almost through your thing?
Yeah, no, I'm done. I can tell you what so we closed around last September. We did a convertible debt round with a $2 million cap and a 20% discount. We are opening a new round today for this specifically, I suppose. And we're going to do, right now we're going to do another convertible debt round with a $5 million cap and a 20% discount as well.
So in addition to personal investing, Barb and I are part of the Sofia Fund that invests in women entrepreneurs. So it's great to see you have 2 women on your team. Are they actually active in management, owners in the company?
They both, every full-time employee of our company has ownership right now, including Aaliyah and Eva. Great. Yeah, and they are very active. They're awesome. If you talk to them about owning this company, they would talk passionately about it.
So the 2 things I like, I think you're very thoughtful on your revenue model and how you're going to drive traffic to your site, and particularly if you can get the artists to be salesmen for you. Secondly, I love the fact that you started your presentation with the management slide, because as I always say, 95% of my decision is on the management. So I'm in with one caveat. I would be in at the $2 million cap, not the $5 million cap.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Yeah, I mean, we've actually had a lot of interest since we closed our first round in like 2 weeks, pretty quickly. Foundry Group came in quick and invested. Matchstick locally came in really quick and also invested. And we literally closed that round out in about 2 weeks, and since then have fielded a lot of interest in our company. Yeah.
Brett, I just have one question. It's more on the technology side. So having a strong global supply chain background, I think that's a great piece. I use Etsy every day. We were talking about that earlier. The fulfillment has always been a challenge. So making that connection, does the technology work pretty well? Are you going in with a lot of the different supply chain applications to check this, like even tying in with like Alibaba, for example?
So it's pretty seamless. So what we found is right now most of, like, especially US suppliers, they are set up for companies like ours already, so we don't even have to. So they all have APIs set up where we don't touch an order, we don't even see it. We see the order come in, but it goes right to them and they ship it out right away. And so it is a very seamless transition for ordering. It's super easy.
Okay, great. Well, with that, I'd be in with the caveat of being able to have a due diligence round, but very interesting and nice presentation.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think it's great that you focused on the artists to begin with. I'm anxious to see some traction on the sales side. It looks like the first couple months look pretty good.
Yep.
And since I'm now a grandma-to-be, I think I would definitely be interested in looking at the company further. So cool. I'm in.
At the 5 or the 2?
We'll talk.
Yeah.
So how much are you raising right now?
500,000.
And when are you closing?
We'll do rolling closes. Today is the first. This is the first pitch we've made on this round.
Okay.
Official pitch.
Well, since you have 3 out of 4, and these guys all do really, really good due diligence, I'm gonna call them up when they're done and see if I'm interested or not. But I love what you're doing. I think it's pretty cool. I get it now.
Ed, what if I pitch Jamstick?
Oh, you know what?
No,
yeah, I have a Jamstick here. But anyway, if I ever monetize that, who knows? But anyway, I'm having fun with it.
Nice job. So you have,
Thanks.
we'll all be following up with you on some due diligence
Yeah,
items.
I'd love to talk to all of you. It's a cool product, and there's real potential. There really is. Thanks.
Good job. Super. Right, see, that's how the pool works. You just come, you talk. The investors say that, no, yeah, well,
40 seconds.
I guess we'll see where all these negotiations go. So we have one more for you for the day here as part of Piranha Pool 2, and that is going to be Purchase Box. Somebody's going in the pool. Look out for them fish. you know.
Someone's got to get in there.
All right, I give you a microphone.
That was worth a couple percentage points, right?
Probably so, yes. Get a photo there.
All right, Piranhas. My name is Parag Shah, and I'm the founder of Purchase Box. We are offering 7.5% of our company for $50,000. Let me share the story of Purchase Box and why I even got started. I'm a very disorganized person. And retail, shocking. Retail is one of those things where you are bombarded with information left and right, whether that's your local grocery store, whether that's online shopping, it doesn't matter. You're bombarded with receipts, offers, information that's coming to you all the time. And what's ended up happening is we as consumers can't get all that information and do anything with it. So it's all lost. The time when you actually need a receipt for a return, let's say, after the holiday season, you can't find it, and it's an absolute nightmare. So what do? You end up going to the store and asking for a gift card instead, and you never use that gift card. So we wanted to create something that allowed to solve that problem, allowed that communication of all those retail communication to be in one place that's organized, that's searchable, and that was giving you content when you needed it most. So let's go walk through kind of what the scenario looks like. So I kind of went through the problem already. Oh, come on. So the solution was to build a application that could sit on your device, and it could allow you to get information through the receipts. One of the bigger things that we've kind of realized as we've kind of built out this product is people have stopped giving their personal information away to retailers because they know they're going to get spammed. And so now you have this flow of, I know I want an e-receipt, but I don't want to give you my personal email address because someone's going to steal it and sell it to somebody else. So what we said is, let's create an alias email account for everybody. So for example, mine would be parag@purchasebox.com. It's just for retail shopping. I use that when I shop online or if I shop at brick and mortar stores. Once the email hits that, we can actually categorize that information for you and put it in the right bucket. So if it's a receipt, we'll actually put it into your receipts so it looks like this. As you can see on the right screenshot over here, the cool thing about our app is that we're actually taking SKU level data from the receipt. So this isn't what your normal Target receipt's going to look like. We're taking SKU level data, so we're actually capturing a ton of information about your buying habits, about what you're doing. You can search for SKU level items that you might be like, oh, I bought that blouse last night or whatever, need to find it. You can search for all that content, right? That's the really neat thing about this. So why is this important today? So there's a couple companies that started a little while back. One actually had an exit, significant exit. But the reason that today it's really important is because, one, a lot of retailers are moving to e-receipts and e-communication. They're saving a lot of money doing it, and they're collecting a lot of valuable data during the process. Obviously, online shopping is all digital already. So as more and more retailers are going down this path, they're having a hard time because all their offers and receipts and information is getting lost in spam and lost in personal inboxes. So they want to go down this path, but there isn't a good solution for them to actually be able to communicate with the end consumer. So our traction. We don't have a specific team slide because I didn't really know what this was going to be about. So, but let me talk to you about why we've kind of gone on this path. So we've got 2 members on our advisory team who are also investors in the company. One is Rick Atherton, who is one of the founders of Chico's and Hot Mama. And then we have Sharon Lassard, who is one of the executives at SuperValue, who also was a big executive at Best Buy, who kind of founded a lot of their international stores. So they've kind of helped us kind of deal with the retail communication strategy and what that all encompasses. I have a background personally in starting tech startups. I've built a lot of different applications. I know how to build applications, and we've been able to build this out in less than 6 months and get it out to the market, get users right away, and start testing this product. So we currently have an iOS app available in the App Store. Android should be out by the end of the month, so you guys can all download it too. It's invite only right now, but we can all give everyone an invitation. We have about a 4,000 person waiting list that grows every single day, and it's all been word of mouth. We've done no marketing, we've done no nothing. It's just been word of mouth that's been able to kind of see this grow. So what's next for us? we ran into a big issue, and that was how do retailers get on board with our application that are excited or interested? So we had a big breakthrough that essentially took a very simple solution that's been around in the industry for a long time, not in retail specifically, but in other places, using HTML tags. So we built a way that allows retailers at no cost to them to be able to actually integrate with our application and talk to the end consumer using HTML tags and emails. So for example, we have 10 retailers right now that we work with. Each one of them we've worked directly with to actually parse their emails and actually know where content is in their emails. Now, any retailer in the world can use our HTML tags to say this is an offer, or this is a receipt, or if it's a receipt, this is the SKU level item that needs to be tagged in there, or this is the deadline for this offer, the expiration date of this offer. So everything can be integrated, and now it's a seamless communication.
Guys, is that built now? All those APIs built and it operates
Yes.
seamlessly without any problems? Because that's a big job.
Yeah, so it's actually a lot easier that we found out than we thought it was originally. As long as they use our format, it works seamlessly. And we have documentation, and we're just rolling this out right now. We have documentation that allows retailers to use it. And if they use it, obviously their information can be used by the consumer. So a really good example of this is, so Dunn Brothers, for example. Say you go to Dunn Brothers and you get an offer, you sign up for their subscription, and it says, hey, on next Monday, you're going to get $1 off your cup of coffee. Not only is it going to tell you that this expiration, it's going to give you a notification, hey, this is expiring on Monday, but it's also, when you get close to a Dunn Brothers, it's going to say, remind you, hey, you've got this offer in your inbox, you might want to use it. So it's giving you real-time information if the retailer is using that type of tagging system with our application.
But doesn't that exist already? I mean, I go to buy Walgreens or a Starbucks, I get the same ping on my phone.
Correct. It does, as long as you have their app. Right. Consumers aren't going to download an app for every retailer in the world. It's just not possible. So these retailers are struggling getting their apps adoption because you're not going to download a Dunn Brothers app, a Starbucks app, a Caribou app, a Best Buy app. It's just not going to happen.
I did.
Wow. I'm very impressed. But for most people, that's just not going to happen.
So since I'm on, so I get the security aspect of you don't really want to have your email out there and have people crack into it. Get that. Other than that, how do you differ from like a passbook on my iPhone or Google Wallet or Apple Pay, which is sort of going to be doing the same thing? I don't know about the HTML tags and having all that data, but you sort of look and smell and feel like what Passbook does in my phone right now. So how do you differentiate?
Absolutely. I'm just going to skip to screenshots because I love product. That's a great question. And first of all, Android doesn't have Passbook, which is a bigger part of the market. Secondly, in order to use Passbook, you really need a native application to be able to send information. You'll be shocked to see how many apps don't integrate with Passbook. I've tried to use Passbook a number of times, and it just doesn't work. And it doesn't work for information, right? It works for just things like gift cards or payments. It doesn't work for offers, or it doesn't work for shipment notifications or any of that information that's coming into your communication. So it's a very small segment of what can actually integrate with Passbook versus here it's in handling all of your retail communication versus just a small segment of it. And then in terms of Google Wallet and Apple Pay, our plan is actually to integrate with them. They have great platforms. We don't want to be a payment processor at all. We think there's a huge opportunity to integrate with them. The issue with Google Wallet and Apple Pay is they don't get SKU level data because they don't actually have a point of sale receipt connection, and they don't take that information. So yeah, you'll know you spent $42 at Walgreens, but you don't know what you bought.
So Parag, what's the business model? Right, we haven't seen how you're going to make money here.
We're not going to make money this year, to be quite honest. It's all about user adoption. What's that?
Eventually, what's the business?
Eventually, yeah, we want to make some money, right? Or we just sell like Instagram. No, no. The model for this year is user acquisition. Our goal is to get to 25,000 users, by in about 2 months, 250,000 users by end of Q3, and 1 million users by the end of the year. That's what we need to accomplish in order to get retailers to really start being on board and using this as a tool on every day. Beyond that, how we plan on making money is a couple things. One is because we're getting SKU level data, we're able to capture a lot of warranty information. So we've talked to a couple retailers about prompting people, hey, you bought this phone, would you like to add an extended warranty to it? We can get a percentage of that. Another big thing for us is offers. So being able to, just so Facebook and Twitter have done it, ads, right? But they're not ads in the way that you think about it. They're placements within capturing information. So because we're capturing SKU level data, we're able to know, hey, Joy, you like to buy a lot of women's shoes. So we could sell that spot in your feed to someone like an Aldo or a Chico's or someone like that, and they could pay a lot of money for that spot.
And maybe you have another slide, but so do you have a slide on management? Who's actually on the management team?
I don't. Apparently, I did not put that in there. So it's myself, Whitney Johnson, who's right up here, and then Anid Mansour, who's our CTO. We've got a guy named Jeff Dinter, who's our lead UI designer, and then Rick Atherton, who's a board member and investor, and then Sharon Lassard, who's an investor as well. A lot. I don't sleep, Joy. I don't sleep, Joy. You know that.
Joy, use a microphone.
So tell us about Book Bottle.
It's doing well, very well.
No, so my question is how much, I know you've done a lot of startups and have a lot of things going, so my question is how much of your time is actually being spent?
Quite a bit, and our model has always been that we think we can leverage our resources in a lot of different ways to grow this. I'm here to make money. That's simply it. We're going to exit this company for a lot of money. It's a huge opportunity, and that's what we're going after. I know my weaknesses, and at the end of the day, I'm not someone who is a great day-to-day detail-oriented person, and that's what I surround myself with. I'm the person that's going to get the ideas, is a visionary that's going to bring this to the table and push it really hard.
I love this because, first of all, I'm constantly looking for the receipts, and it doesn't matter. And being out in the Bay Area most of the time, so Tiburon Group is there probably 50% of the time. Our 2 offices are here and there. There's a lot of companies that do slices of this, but not all together. So if you can pull this off, I think you've got something that is really interesting. It's because a lot of people struggle with this issue. The fact also, I look at the business model, and you're moving from paper to digital. It's the oldest game in the book right now, but it hadn't been addressed outside of healthcare technology. I think it's one of the laggards because who uses paper outside of receipts and POS very much?
I agree.
So the question I have to you is, when we've worked on this, whether I'm working with somebody that's doing this from insurance company purposes or retail purposes, it always gets snagged up in the credit card companies, like the Visas, the Amexes, and so on. So you can pull off the POS, the SKUs, and so on, but how do you actually track it back to the cards? Can you comment on that?
Absolutely. We haven't done it yet, but that's actually a big goal of mine, is to reconcile this with an Amex statement or something like that. The reason I actually really quickly went down this path is when I go to restaurants, especially, because anywhere there's a tip line, I hate paper, like literally hate it. And so I never, take both receipts. I just sign at the tip. I had a server change the tip, and I only noticed it because she changed it by a lot, and I knew I didn't spend that kind of money at that restaurant. And so I would love to be able to reconcile this back with the credit card statement and know that, hey, I actually spent $60 versus $160.
I always appreciate the people that jump in the pool. So good for you for getting in the pool, for being bold. I think I'm out, and it's just because I'm not sure. And you can respond to this, and I may change my mind, but I'm not sure if I'm a user, if I'm buying you for the security aspect, for the one-stop shop for all my invoice aspect, for the fact that there's all this HTML data that is, why? If I'm a consumer, why am I buying your product? Why am I going to go download your product and use it? Because there's a lot of products out there. So to switch me over to a whole new business practice is not easy. So why would I buy your product? Why would I use your product?
That's a phenomenal question. For me, about the consumer, it's all about information at the right time. That's what the world is about. And we're lost in all of this information. And so if I can provide you as a consumer, when you get into Macy's and I know you're doing a return and it's going to say, here's your receipt for the return, that's going to save you a lot of time and energy. If I can get you an offer at the time that you need that offer, that saves you a lot of time and energy. If everything is searchable, think about the days before email when you got physical mail. Where would you even put that information? Now everything in our life is searchable. So being able to search for your phone, being able to save your warranty that you ordered in one place, all that in one place is not in your email. It's not in any other application. This is where it's going to be stored.
So I think there's a lot of opportunity here, and when the idea is amazing, and like Barb said, I mean there are a whole bunch of things you could do to expand, and my primary concern is that it's too early right now, but Joe's
Best time
given
to
me
be
the
in.
thumbs up here, and so he says that we should take a look at this, and so but it may be too early to invest, but I think that the idea is really intriguing.
Thank you, Joy.
Well, unfortunately, my spouse isn't here today to tell me if I should go. Never mind. I had it wrong there. I was so ready with the punchline, I never developed the fact. My problem is I don't think you're raising enough money. And my other big problem is I'm kind of a manufacturing widget kind of guy. I'm a colorblind electrical engineer, and so I kind of need some hardware to really.
I'll accept a bigger check if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, but I think it's pretty cool. I think your valuation's fine. I think you might just want to see if somebody will just give you 25 grand or 50 and do it on a convertible, and that way you don't have to screw around with a K1. Would be my recommendation to somebody. But
Thank you. I appreciate that. And this is just the use of funds to get us to the 250,000 users that we need.
So we've got two babies. You're gonna look at it?
Yeah, I love this. I'd be interested in going, not investing yet, but looking at the due diligence of it.
Thanks for being here.
I'll listen to the story, but I'm kind of out for the reasons I said.
Great. Good job,
Thank
Prague.
you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, there you go. Good job, Prague. Good job. Thanks for going. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for participating in Piranha Pool 2, and thanks to our piranhas. Let's give them one last round of applause.